On April 29, 2008, a mother and daughter surnamed Wang arrived at the New Territories police station with worried expressions to report a missing person. Mrs. Wang stated that her 16-year-old daughter, Wang Jie, had been missing for 3 days. Initially, the family thought she might be staying at a friend's house, but they had been unable to contact her. The older sister, Beng, who accompanied her mother, added, "At 11 p.m. on April 26th, my sister and I were still chatting happily at home. Afterward, we each went to our rooms to rest, and nothing unusual happened. But the next morning, I couldn't find my sister anywhere. I don't know when she left the house or where she went." The family reported that Wang Jie had once stayed overnight at her boyfriend's house, but after breaking up, she rarely spent nights away from home. Even when she occasionally came home late, she would always inform the family in advance. There had never been a case of her disappearing for several consecutive days like this. After completing the report at the police station, the mother and daughter returned home. Such disappearances were not uncommon, especially among teenagers of this age. The police officially recorded the case as a missing person and assigned the New Territories Missing Persons Investigation Unit to follow up. The missing person, Wang Jie, was from Shino, Hunan. She was the second child in the family and had an older sister, Beng, who was 3 years her senior. Both sisters carried their mother's surname. When Wang Jie was 3 years old, her parents divorced due to conflicts. Later, her mother remarried a 50-year-old man from Hong Kong named Chen. This stepfather was a lazy man without a job. Apart from having Hong Kong citizenship, Wang Jie felt he had nothing worthy of her mother's respect. In 2000, Wang Jie's mother decided to take the older sister, Beng, to settle in Hong Kong, leaving the young girl alone in her hometown. There were conflicting reports about Wang Jie's living situation at that time. Some said she remained in her hometown of Shino, while others claimed she was sent to Dongguan to be cared for by others. Regardless of the actual circumstances, it was clear that Wang Jie had experienced a very lonely childhood lacking in affection. In 2005, at the age of 14, she was finally brought to Hong Kong to reunite with her mother and sister, as well as the stepfather she barely knew. The family's financial situation was not good, and her mother had to make a living as a trash collector. When she first arrived in Hong Kong, Wang Jie was overjoyed to see the bustling city. Her mother enrolled her at Sam Yuk Dao Secondary School, where her sister, Beng, was also studying. Wang Jie was an excellent student. In the 8th grade, she won the Purple Gold Award, a prize given to students who excel in at least one of 3, math, Chinese, and English. She also won awards in Mandarin and English recitation competitions and received school scholarships for 2 consecutive years. However, Wang Jie's relationships with her classmates and teachers were not good. Her peers saw her as introverted, stubborn, and quiet. Outside of school, her relationship with her stepfather was also poor. They frequently argued. In 2007, Jie enrolled in a modeling course outside of school. However, due to her ordinary appearance and figure, she received almost no photo shoot invitations. She lied to her family, claiming she was working as a model's assistant and earning about 20,000 to 30,000 Hong Kong dollars, approximately $2,560 to $3,840 per month. However, she quit the job shortly after. Wang Jie enjoyed beauty and fashion. She liked makeup and beautiful clothes, often sharing clothes and shoes with her sister. The 2 sisters even enrolled in a makeup course together, attending 3 classes per week in January 2008, perhaps wanting to help ease the family's financial burden. Wang Jie, then in 10th grade, told her family she wanted to drop out of school. Despite her mother and sister's strong objections, she insisted on her decision, believing that too much education was useless. Eventually, Wang Jie left school. From then on, she began leading a dissipated life, frequently visiting entertainment venues, associating with all kinds of people, and even staying out overnight without returning home. After receiving the missing person report, the police went to Wang Jie's apartment in Tai Wo Tao to investigate. This was a public housing complex provided by the Hong Kong government for low-income residents and was home to many new immigrants. Wang Jie lived in an apartment in the Kui Wo building. The police checked the browsing history on the computer in Wang Jie's bedroom and discovered that she was working as a prostitute. She had registered an account on an adult forum, posting many suggestive photos and publicly listing her service prices. She also used ICQ accounts to communicate with clients. On April 13th, Wang Jie had posted on the forum and gone out to meet a client late at night. Over a week later, someone left a comment reviewing her services. Sometimes, she also provided accompanying services, such as shopping or going for walks with clients. Meeting strangers always carries potential risks, and no one could guarantee Wang Jie's safety. Based on her social connections, the police determined that she might be in danger. After several days of her disappearance, Wang Jie's family was completely unaware of her work as a prostitute. Her sister, Bing, told the police, "We sisters were very close and often confided in each other." However, at some point, Wang Jie's mood began to darken, as if she was hiding something troubling. Gradually, Bing noticed that her sister had made many new friends outside of school, ranging in age from 20 to 50. Wang Jie often talked on the phone with others at night, sometimes staying out overnight. When the family inquired, she only said she was dating a boyfriend but never brought him home. Bing knew that Wang Jie often used ICQ to chat with people, but she couldn't believe her sister would do such things. Normally, Wang Jie only browsed beauty websites and occasionally went to sing karaoke. After investigating Wang Jie's relationships, the police became increasingly concerned for her safety. The case was quickly publicized in the media to seek clues from potential witnesses. On May 2nd, a man named Bang came to the police station and reported that he had met Wang Jie. Bang was a programmer and could be considered a regular client of Wang Jie. In April 2008, Bang had seen Wang Jie's information on the forum and arranged to meet her. On April 20th, he had paid $1,500 Hong Kong dollars, approximately $192 for that encounter. After that meeting, the two became closer and often chatted online. A few days later, Bang wanted to meet Wang Jie again and called her in the early morning of April 27th. They met at the Shamshu Po subway station. That evening, Wang Jie wore a black outfit and carried a yellow bag. They then went to a nearby hotel. When they entered the room, Wang Jie seemed tired, so Bang didn't engage in any sexual activity with her. The two lay on the bed, talking, and fell asleep without realizing it. Around 9 a.m. the next morning, they left the hotel and said goodbye. This time, Bang paid Wang Jie $1,000 Hong Kong dollars, approximately $256, and arranged to meet her again in the future. Bang said that after that day, he couldn't contact Wang Jie through ICQ or phone calls. It wasn't until May 2nd, when he saw the news about Wang Jie's disappearance, that he realized something was wrong and immediately went to the police station to provide information. The day Wang Jie disappeared was the same day she left the hotel with Bang, and Bang was also the last person known to have seen Wang Jie. Therefore, Bang naturally became the primary suspect in the case. However, after investigation, the police confirmed Bang's statement was true and cleared him of suspicion. According to Bang, that night in the hotel room, Wang Jie had confided in him that she wanted to earn money to give her mother a better life. Wang Jie had been scammed by a modeling company, not only failing to earn money but also owing the company $50,000 Hong Kong dollars, approximately $6,400. She had managed to pay back over $50,000, but on the evening of April 26th, the modeling company called again, demanding she pay an additional $10,000 in interest before May. If she didn't pay, they threatened to expose her work for the company and release sensitive videos of her online. Backed into a corner, Wang Jie was forced to see multiple clients to earn money to pay off the debt. The police speculated that after parting with Bang, Wang Jie had gone to meet another client who might be connected to her disappearance. By checking Wang Jie's call logs, the police discovered that her last call was made at 1:04 p.m. On April 27th at Shamshu Po subway station. The call lasted 53 seconds. The number on the other end was an unregistered prepaid phone. According to Wang Jie's ICQ chat history, at 9:16 a.m. on April 27th, someone had arranged to meet her at Shamshu Po subway station at 1 p.m. That day, this person had instructed Wang Jie to call when she arrived, and they would then come to the subway station to pick her up. The phone number this person left matched the number Wang Jie had called last. Through the IP address, the police determined that this person's ICQ messages were sent from a computer in the Yan Fat building on Sheikh Kip Mei Street, not far from Shamshu Po subway station. A week later, on May 6th, a 30-year-old man named Ade came to the police station, looking panic-stricken. Ade stated that Wang Jie might have been killed by his friend, 24-year-old Ding Qitai. Ade and Ding Qitai had known each other and become close friends 15 years earlier, when they both worked at a late-night eatery. Although they no longer worked together, the two still kept in regular contact. Ade said that on the evening of April 26th, he and Ding Qitai had gone out to a bar in Saishui. Ding Qitai not only drank alcohol but also used drugs. The two stayed at the bar until 7 a.m. the next morning before leaving. From 9:25 p.m. to 11:25 p.m. on April 27th, Ade received 3 consecutive calls from Ding Qitai. On the phone, Ding Qitai said he had killed a girl. Ding Qitai recounted that while having sex with the girl, she kept saying she wanted to die. For some unknown reason, he strangled her to death. He then dismembered the body to dispose of it. Ding Qitai also described that the girl's body had a lot of fat, and he didn't want to see her face, so he skinned her face and threw it away. He hid the victim's bones in a pig. A bone container at a pork stall shocked after Ding Qitai's call. Terrified, I couldn't believe his friend had killed someone. Thinking Ding Qitai was just talking nonsense after using drugs, I met him a few more times, and each time Ding Qitai insisted that what he'd said on the phone was just a joke. However, in recent days, I had been haunted by this incident. Later, when he saw the news about Wang Jiam's disappearance, I noticed that the victim's description and the time of disappearance closely matched what Ding Qitai had said on the phone. I began to suspect and decided to report to the police. Based on A's statement, the police determined that Wang Jie's disappearance was not a simple case. It was then transferred to the Kowloon West Regional Crime Unit for further investigation. According to the investigation, Ding Qitai's home address matched the IP address that the police had traced from the ICQ messages earlier that evening. The crime unit staked out near the Yan Fat building, where Ding Qitai lived, around 11 p.m. Ding Qitai appeared in the darkness. The police immediately rushed in, subdued him, and took him to the police station. During interrogation, Ding Qitai implicated an accomplice, a friend named Hu Qi, claiming this person had helped him dispose of the body. The police quickly apprehended Hu as well. Upon searching Ding Qitai's apartment in the Yan Fat building, they found bloodstains on the bathroom floor, walls, door frames, and shower curtain. Traces of blood were also found on the computer desk, chair, and carpet in the bedroom. Even a CD in the disk drive was stained with blood. DNA test results showed that all the blood belonged to Wang Jiam, confirming this apartment as the murder scene. During interrogation, Ding Qitai confessed to killing Wang Jiam and dumping her body into the sea near the Kowloon Ferry Pier, around 8 a.m. The next day, a group of police officers escorted Ding Qitai to the coastal area of the Kowloon Ferry Pier where he had disposed of the body. By 3 p.m. divers had made 2 attempts to search the seabed but found nothing. At this point, Ding Qitai revealed that he had dismembered Wang Jiam's body, only throwing the head into the sea. He had cut other body parts into small pieces and flushed them down the toilet. Some bone fragments were taken to a pork stall in Sheikh Kip Mei and mixed with pig meat. The murderer's confession shocked the police. Since the incident had occurred over 10 days ago, some bone fragments might have already been sold to customers. When the case was made public, it sent shock waves through society. The information that Ding Qitai had disposed of human remains at a pork stall caused great panic among local residents. Rumors spread online that Wang Jiam had gone to the Yan Fat building on the day of the incident to participate in a group sex party with Ding Qitai and others. Due to Wang Jiam's habit of using drugs before working, she had allegedly died from a drug overdose. To avoid punishment, Ding Qitai and Hu Qi had allegedly dismembered the victim and disposed of the remains in the sea and at the pork stall. However, after investigation, the police confirmed this information was inaccurate. At the time of the incident, Hu had a reliable alibi and was not involved in the case, nor did he help Ding Qitai dispose of the body, as Ding Qitai had initially claimed. After further investigation, the police were able to piece together the sequence of events. Early that morning, after leaving the bar at 7 a.m., Ding Qitai continued to use drugs when he got home. He still felt high and couldn't calm down. In his drug-induced state, Ding Chitai contacted Wang Jame after 1 p.m. They met, and Ding Chitai took Wang Jame back to his apartment. They both used drugs and then had sex. Around 3 p.m., Ding Chitai woke up. He was shocked to find Wang Jame lying motionless on the bed with bloody foam at her mouth and her body already cold. Ding Chitai realized he had killed someone but couldn't remember the exact details. He only recalled that he had strangled the victim for about 1 to 2 minutes. Initially, Ding Chitai was terrified when faced with Wang Jame's death. However, within 5 to 10 minutes, a plan to dismember and dispose of the body flashed through his mind. Ding Chitai chose to dismember the body, thinking it would be harder to detect. It took him 6 hours to dismember Wang Jame's body. Just draining the blood took 10 to 15 minutes. During the process of handling the body, he found it difficult to skin and remove the flesh simultaneously. Thus, he came up with the idea of skinning first, then removing the flesh, similar to how pigs are butchered. To avoid clogging the toilet, he cut the body into small pieces and flushed them down in multiple batches. When dealing with fingers and toes, he flushed the toilet after disposing of each one to ensure they were completely gone. At 10 p.m. Ding Chitai began processing the bones that couldn't be flushed down the toilet, such as arm bones, leg bones, and the spine. He decided to remove all the flesh, making them less recognizable as human bones to easily mix with pork later. He then took the victim's head on a bus to the Cowan Ferry Pier and threw it into the sea. Apart from the head disposed of in the sea, Ding Chitai divided the remaining 10 parts of the body into 2 portions and dumped them at a pork stall on Sheikh Kip Mei Street. Before his arrest, Ding Chitai continued his normal life, eating and enjoying himself. During this time, he called an acquaintance several times, which ultimately helped the police track him down. The police asked Ding Chitai if he had ever worked in jobs related to anatomy or selling pork before and if he had taken photos of the dismemberment process. He denied all of these. Every action of Ding Chitai was carefully calculated. Even the reason for taking the victim's head on a bus to dispose of it and then taking another bus home had its purpose. He believed that traveling by bus would be less likely to attract police attention, thus minimizing the risk. After Ding Chitai's arrest, psychiatrists from Castle Peak Hospital came to examine him. Ding Chitai revealed that he had been treated for mental illness at age 8, started purchasing sex services at 15 to 16, began using drugs in late 2001, and started viewing pornographic websites in 2002. Some experts pointed out that if Ding Chitai's statement were true, he might have suffered from automatism caused by drug use. Automatism is a special form of epilepsy characterized by simple or complex unintentional unconscious actions occurring during or after a seizure when the patient is in a dazed state and has no memory of these actions. However, according to the director of the hospital's Substance Abuse Treatment Center, there is no medical literature documenting cases of drug abuse causing automatism. Ding Chitai's claim of not remembering the killing process could be a lie. During the dismemberment, small body parts were flushed down the toilet multiple times. Wastewater from the scene was also analyzed for potential evidence. The building's sewage flowed through a pumping station and several septic tanks before being transferred to the Now Tom May sewage treatment plant. This plant processes millions of cubic meters of wastewater daily for the port area and coastlines. The treated wastewater is then discharged into the sea. These facilities operate 24/7. Finding body parts in this complex sewage system was nearly impossible. However, some residents living near the crime scene reported smelling a foul odor, similar to dead rats, coming from the drainage of a real estate company and a Zhang store on the ground floor of the building. Upon receiving the report, the police contacted the drainage company to coordinate the investigation. On May 8, drainage company staff began searching for body parts in the sewer system and several manholes near the crime scene. When tapping on a drainage pipe, they detected an unusual sound and suspected there might be an obstruction inside. From the sludge dredged up from the manhole, they found over 20 pieces of flesh suspected to be human. DNA test results later confirmed that these flesh pieces belonged to Wang Jame. As for the victim's head, although the police had expanded their search area under the sea near the Cowan Ferry Pier, they still found nothing. Ding Chitai, 24 years old, 5 feet 10 inches tall, and weighing 209 pounds, was born in Hong Kong and was the second child in a family of 4 siblings. Ding Chitai was a rebellious child, often causing trouble and getting into fights. At age 5, During a family trip to mainland China, Ding Qitai was involved in a serious traffic accident. The accident caused him to suffer a brain injury and witness his mother's death. After the accident, his maternal relatives blamed Ding Tai's father for causing his mother's death. 2 years later, Ding Qitai's father remarried. The family moved to Nanshan village and lived quite harmoniously. At age 8, due to his hot temper and learning difficulties, Ding Qitai was taken by his family to the hospital for a psychological evaluation. After being diagnosed with an emotional disorder, Ding Qitai was sent to a special school for children with disabilities. At 15 or 16 years old, he was sent to a reform school for psychological counseling due to assaulting others. Ding Qitai dropped out of school in 6th grade. Afterward, he worked as a delivery person for a nightclub and also apprenticed in air conditioning installation with a cousin at a construction site. Attracted by the glittering world outside, Ding Qitai gradually fell into bad habits. He abused drugs to the point of vomiting and nosebleeds, but still craved the excitement these substances brought. Ding Qitai plunged into a life of debauchery. Even when he had a girlfriend, he still frequented prostitutes. According to the nightclub owner where Ding Qitai once worked, his monthly income at that time was over 4,000 Hong Kong dollars, approximately 512 United States dollars. He only worked for half a year before quitting. With his bleached blonde hair and chubby figure, people called him Fat Tai. Ding Qitai often boasted about his encounters with prostitutes. He also got into arguments with others over money. His behavior was no different from that of a thug. Some former colleagues said Ding Qitai was a bragger and lazy. Only interested in pleasure, he spent money like water and then turned to borrowing from friends. Ding Qitai always wanted to make quick money. He once borrowed 60,000 Hong Kong dollars, approximately $7,680 from a finance company and spent it all in a short time. He then borrowed another 200,000 Hong Kong dollars, approximately $25,600 from the same company. Unable to repay the debt, Ding Qitai was visited by debt collectors at his home. Finally, he was forced to move to avoid the debt. In the eyes of AD, his close friend, Ding Qitai was clever but had a hot temper, was easily irritated, and frequently cursing. In June 2007, when Ding Qitai was 23 years old, he rented an apartment on the second floor of the Yan Fat building on Sheikh Kip Mei Street for 2,000 Hong Kong dollars, approximately $256 per month. Later, this apartment became the scene of the horrific crime. A year after the incident, in July 2009, the trial for the case opened at the Hong Kong High Court. Defendant Ding Qitai was charged with murder and preventing the lawful burial of a corpse. At the trial, Ding Qitai admitted to his crimes. After 6 days of trial, the court delivered its verdict. Ding Qitai was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. For preventing the lawful burial of a corpse, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison. The final sentence was life imprisonment. In November of that year, AD, the close friend who had reported Ding Qitai's crime and helped the police solve the case, was invited to attend the 2009 Outstanding Citizen Award ceremony. When receiving the award, AD was very emotional. He was the only one receiving an award who didn't feel happy. AD shared, "My feelings are very complex. Ding Qitai really did kill someone. Sometimes I can't sleep." In 2015, the movie Port of Call, based on this case, was released and once again stirred up public discussion. The Wang Yamei case closed but left Hong Kong residents with a lingering sense of shock and haunting. Her death serves as a warning about the lurking dangers in a prosperous society where neon lights cannot cover all the dark corners. This story highlights the importance of love, care, and proper education. Each family and each of us has a responsibility to build a safe, healthy environment and a better society. And that concludes today's story. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. On the morning of September 15, 2007, at Melbourne's train station in Australia, passengers noticed a young Asian girl wandering alone and crying. They immediately sought assistance from station staff. During the interaction, they realized that the girl did not speak English. Initially, they thought she had been separated from her family, so they brought her to the office. Since she was wearing clothes from the children's brand Pumpkin Patch, they nicknamed her Little Pumpkin. The staff then reviewed the surveillance footage to search for the girl's relatives. However, they discovered something unusual. A middle-aged man was seen pulling a suitcase and leading Little Pumpkin into the station. He bent down to speak to her briefly, then went up the escalator and never returned. The staff concluded that Little Pumpkin had likely been abandoned by the middle-aged man and reported the incident to the police. This discovery, however, led to a shocking case that rocked the Chinese communities in both Australia and the United States. At the same time, it exposed the criminal actions of a Chinese martial arts master. Through further investigation, the police confirmed that Little Pumpkin, then 3 years old, was a New Zealand citizen, and the man who abandoned her was her father, a 53-year-old Chinese martial arts master named Ne Yinu. His English name was Michael. Australian police examined flight records and found that, on September 13, 2007, 2 days before the incident, Michael and his daughter flew from Auckland, New Zealand, to Melbourne, Australia, using their New Zealand passports. On September 15, just 2 hours after abandoning his daughter at the Melbourne station, Michael boarded an international flight alone to Los Angeles, USA. His actions indicated that he had planned to abandon his 3-year-old daughter. However, a puzzling question remained. If he only intended to abandon his daughter, why didn't he do so in New Zealand? And where was the girl's mother? The Australian police passed along the information they had gathered to New Zealand authorities in hopes of locating Little Pumpkin's mother. 2 days later, on September 17th, Auckland police went to Michael's house to investigate. They discovered that Little Pumpkin's mother had been missing for several days. As a result, they immediately requested a search warrant and began searching Michael's home. Later that evening, after 5 p.m., the police found a woman's body in the trunk of Michael's Honda. Upon identification, the victim was confirmed to be Michael's wife, Anna. She was wearing a nightgown with no underwear, and a pair of red panties had been discarded beside the body. In addition, a yellow tie was found wrapped around her neck. The medical examiner determined that Anna had been dead for about a week. Before her death, she had not been sexually assaulted, and the cause of death was determined to be suffocation. The yellow tie belonged to her husband. On the panties, DNA from 3 men was found, one of whom was her husband. Michael had flown with his daughter to Australia on September 13th, then abandoned her and continued on to the United States. All these suspicious actions pointed to Michael as the prime suspect in the case. After entering the United States, no one knew where Michael had gone. The case immediately caused a stir in the Chinese community in New Zealand, as Michael was regarded as an influential figure within the Chinese community. He was born in 1954 in Yingkou, China, and grew up in Liaoning. From a young age, he developed a deep interest in martial arts. He began practicing martial arts at the age of 8 and later received instruction from various masters. By that time, he had gained some fame in the martial arts community in northern China. Michael later claimed to be the 6th-generation successor of the Tai Chi style. Of course, from a modern perspective, this title doesn't carry much weight. However, in that era, with the presence of many martial arts masters, the title held significant meaning. In 1983, at the age of 29, Michael claimed to have been ranked among the top 10 martial artists in China and was hailed as a master by the international martial arts community. He went on to write and publish an autobiography, declaring himself the grandmother of Tai Chi. With the reverence of his disciples, Michael opened a martial arts school to attract more students and earn tuition fees. Among his students were prominent members of society, and as a result, he enjoyed both fame and fortune. His career flourished, and during this time, Michael was able to purchase a luxury car. All of this was the result of the combined efforts of Michael and his first wife. Gradually, Michael's students began to realize that their master was just a bragger with no real combat experience. This became Michael's biggest weakness. As a result, the number of students and the revenue of his martial arts school started to decline, eventually making it unsustainable. However, Michael heard that his martial arts were highly regarded abroad, so he decided to take a risky step. In 1996, Michael immigrated to Auckland, New Zealand. At that time, he was over 40 years old and had just divorced his first wife. Michael lived in New Zealand with his daughter and opened a martial arts center there. Each year, he held several martial arts performances. He also tried to teach martial arts in the US, but ultimately, it didn't succeed. The Chinese community had mixed opinions about Michael's martial arts skills and character. Many people believed that he was all talk and had no real talent. In short, Michael always presented himself as a distinguished master, but regardless of the country, he didn't attract many students. The main reason for this was his rude, domineering personality and his strong need for control. Michael repeatedly abused his daughter, making her childhood unhappy. When he traveled to the US, he left his daughter at home without any care or responsibility. Moreover, from his previous marriage, it was clear that he often attacked his wife and children, which made his daughter feel unsafe. Once she became independent, his daughter chose to leave and never returned. During this time, Michael met a woman from China named Anan Lo. Anan Lo was born in 1980 in Changsha, Hunan. Her mother was a senior manager in a business. Initially, Anan had a very good job in China, but she later decided to further her education and study abroad. In 2002, she arrived in New Zealand at the age of 22. However, upon arrival, Anan Lo discovered that she had been deceived by a recruitment agency. Instead of enrolling in a prestigious university, she was placed in a language school. She had to pass her exams within 6 months, or she would have to return to China once her visa expired. This made it difficult for her to improve her English, especially since life in the Chinese community rarely required speaking English. After a traffic accident left her injured, the 6 months passed quickly. As her visa expiration loomed and she was unable to pass her exams, Anan Lo tried to extend her visa but was once again scammed by an agent. Most of the money she had brought with her was taken, and facing the prospect of returning home empty-handed, Anan Lo was determined to stay. The lonely and desperate young woman decided to do whatever it took to remain in the country. She began living illegally, without a stable place to stay. By October 2002, unable to afford her rent, Anan Lo searched for cheaper accommodations. It was during this time that she met Michael, a landlord offering affordable housing in Auckland. After learning about her situation, Michael told her she didn't need to pay rent. All she had to do was keep the house clean, and she could stay. Anan Lo was deeply grateful for his generosity and moved in. At the time, Michael, then 48, wasn't simply offering her a place to stay, he also wanted to pursue the young and beautiful woman, who was 26 years his junior. Surprisingly to many, Anan Lo quickly accepted Michael's romantic advances. Anan Lo was only 4 years older than Michael's daughter, and it's hard to believe this was genuine love. If Michael's martial arts school had been doing well at the time, Anan Lo likely saw a relationship with him as a way to avoid financial difficulties while studying abroad. Their relationship developed rapidly, and they began living together at the start of 2003. When they got married, Anan Lo was already pregnant. Later that same year, she gave birth to a daughter, the girl we now know as Little Pumpkin in this case. It seemed like Anan Lo had found a good man in a foreign country, but after their marriage, Anan Lo discovered that her husband was jealous and forbade her from interacting with other men. Even minor disagreements would result in Michael physically abusing her. Although her life was far from what she had imagined, without a card, Anan Lo felt she had no choice but to endure in silence. In 2006, when Michael was over 50, like many martial artists, he could not avoid the decline in physical abilities, especially since he didn't have any real skill. The martial arts club had become nothing more than a name without value. It had long ceased to provide Michael with any significant income. That same year, Anan Lo received her green card. She no longer had to rely entirely on her husband, as she now had permanent residency. This changed everything. She no longer fully obeyed her husband's orders and even refused to be intimate with him. This made Michael, already struggling with his failing career, even more frustrated and angry. He frequently used his fists against his wife, forbade her from leaving the house, and did not allow her to make friends freely. He even hid her passport and other documents. In September 2006, unable to endure the domestic abuse any longer, Anan Lo decided to escape. She began searching for her passport but instead found a gun. She panicked and was soon discovered by Michael. As a result, she was beaten again, and he even threatened her with a knife. Despite the hardship and loss of freedom, Anan Lo never gave up on the idea of escaping. She finally took advantage of an opportunity, opened the door, and ran to a neighbor's house. After the neighbor called the police, they came and arrested Michael. In June 2007, when the police took him away, Michael was still threatening Anan Lo, saying that he would kill her. Anan Lo and her daughter were taken to a local women's shelter. The staff noticed that she had a split lip and bruises around her eyes. The mother and daughter were provided with food and shelter for a month while Anan filed for a restraining order. As for Michael, he faced charges, but ultimately, Anan Lo withdrew the case. She couldn't bring herself to send Michael to jail, hoping instead that they could separate amicably. In November 2006, Anan Lo took her daughter and returned to her hometown in Changsha, Hunan Province, China, where they stayed for 4 months. While she was away, Michael began dating another woman, but the relationship was short-lived. After the breakup, Michael contacted his wife several times, promising that he would never use violence again and even offering to renew their wedding vows. This moved her. After 4 months in Changsha, Anan Lo returned to New Zealand with her daughter. At this point, the martial arts center had completely collapsed, and Michael began looking for other ways to make money. By the end of 2006, he entered the publishing business, becoming a distributor for a Chinese-language newspaper called Chinatown. However, he didn't know how to run a newspaper or conduct business. The result was a failure, leaving him with significant debts. Michael quickly filed for bankruptcy after this business failure. Michael found himself in the most difficult situation of his life. Just 3 months after Anan Lo returned to New Zealand, Michael resumed his violent behavior. He attacked and even threatened to kill her with a sword. Their daughter, crying, ran to her mother for help but was kicked aside by Michael. After reporting the incident to the police, the mother and daughter were again provided with protective services. The police confiscated Michael's passport and sword and required him to complete a course on family relationship repair. However, Anan Lo had lost hope for reconciliation and was too afraid to stay in Auckland. In June 2007, she moved with her daughter to the capital, Wellington, and began living separately. In July, she registered an account on a dating website. On her blog, on August 29th, she wrote a journal entry about a secret romance she had in Wellington. Anan Lo wrote, "He was lonely, I was lonely. 2 people burned by the fire, so everything that needed to happen, happened. We lived happily as a family for nearly 2 months. Later, after leaving Wellington," she wrote, "a week after his wife returned, I drove away from our love nest, leaving his city." This journal entry clearly indicated that she had ended a relationship with a man after some time. Michael also realized something was wrong. His wife had been away for 2 months without paying any rent. This made him furious. Michael complained to a fellow Chinese friend from his hometown in Liaoning, saying, "In my entire life, no one has ever deceived me except my wife, Anan Lo. She didn't want to live with me sincerely, she used me to gain benefits. She has no income in New Zealand, and I've had to cover all the expenses. That's the greatest resentment of my life." It was likely at that moment that the thought of murder began to form in his mind. Michael's mind, the police confirmed that the last time Anan Lo was seen was around 4 p.m. on September 11, 2007, at a children's center in the suburbs of Auckland. After that, no one knows what method Michael used to lure Anan Lo back home. On September 12th, Anan's mother called, and Michael answered the phone, telling his mother-in-law that Anan had gone to Wellington to attend a party. After Anan's death, Michael went to the local authorities and reclaimed his confiscated passport. The next day, on September 13th, he flew with his daughter to Melbourne, Australia. He then contacted a travel agency, saying he wanted to book a same-day flight to Los Angeles. The staff checked and found that the earliest available flight wasn't until September 15th, 2 days later. Initially, Michael planned to take his daughter with him as he fled to the U.S., but he quickly changed his mind, realizing that fleeing with a child would be a burden. So, Michael made the heartless decision to abandon her. After the incident, Michael's eldest daughter expressed her desire to care for her half-sister. The embassy quickly intervened and assisted in bringing Anan Lo's mother from Changsha to take custody of her granddaughter and return home with her daughter's ashes. The Chinese community in New Zealand raised money to help Little Pumpkin, but her grandmother declined the donations. Her daughter's tragic fate left the grandmother feeling guilty. She had thought that sending her daughter abroad would provide a better life, but she never expected such an outcome. Due to infrequent contact, the mother was unaware of what Anan Lo had endured over the years. She also knew nothing about her daughter's married life and had never even met Michael. After entering the U.S., American authorities issued a nationwide arrest warrant for Michael, At one point, he was placed on the U.S. Top 100 Most Wanted list, alongside leaders of terrorist organizations. A year later, on February 28, 2008, in College Park, a suburb of Atlanta, a Chinese restaurant chef named Wu Gen was reading the newspaper. He saw that U.S. police were offering a $10,000 reward for the capture of a fugitive named Michael. When he saw the picture, he was shocked. "Isn't that Mr. Tang who works at the restaurant?" Wu Gen recalled suspicious things about him, like how his luggage was never unpacked, as if he was ready to move at any moment. Mr. Tang was always alert while sleeping, waking up at the slightest noise. He also claimed to be from Hebei, but spoke with a different accent. Convinced this person was the fugitive, Wu immediately called for friends from Qingdao who were also living in the U.S. and told them about the situation. Among the 5 men, 3 were restaurant delivery workers, 1 was a former provincial soccer player, another was an ex-soldier, and 1 had won a wrestling medal. All of them were strong and physically fit. However, none of them spoke English, so after 3 failed attempts to explain the situation to the police, they had to take matters into their own hands. The 5 men devised a plan. The smallest of them, Wu Gen, went to alert the police while the remaining 4 prepared to apprehend Mr. Tang. That same night, they all gathered at the apartment under the pretense of going out to eat together. However, the fugitive quickly sensed something was wrong and prepared to leave. The 4 men decided to act immediately. The retired soccer player moved forward to block the fugitive, while one of the men tackled him to the ground. At the same time, the others rushed in and tied his hands and feet with leather straps. When the police arrived, the fugitive was already restrained. Inside his wallet, they found a New Zealand driver's license, confirming his identity. The international manhunt had finally come to an end. The fugitive was later extradited to New Zealand. The 5 men who captured him received a $10,000 reward, but they decided to donate the entire amount to charity. They were praised by both the media and the Chinese community for their actions. On June 2, 2009, the Auckland High Court in New Zealand officially opened the trial of Michael for the murder of his wife and the abandonment of his daughter, a case that had shocked 3 countries: New Zealand, the United States, and China. Michael was charged with murder. The trial took a long time, with over 90 witnesses involved. Michael attempted to defend himself by claiming that he was not the murderer. He stated that he only placed the body in the trunk of the car to avoid responsibility and that he fled with his daughter to escape being arrested. Forensic experts had found mixed DNA on Anand Leo's underwear, with the majority belonging to Michael, but smaller DNA samples came from 2 other men. This introduced some uncertainty into the case. While Michael's DNA was found on the tie used in the crime, DNA from another man was also discovered. Michael's defense attorney presented a startling argument, claiming that the victim's blog and dating website activity showed evidence of her infidelity and provided a potential motive. They suggested that Anand Leo may not have been a victim of murder but instead died during rough sexual activity with others. The attorney argued that it was possible Anand Leo did not die in her own home but accidentally suffocated during intimate relations with 2 other men. The mysterious men then allegedly placed her body in Michael's trunk. Forensic experts testified that DNA could spread in certain ways. Even saliva in the air could carry DNA, and it was possible that DNA was transferred when clothes were washed together in the washing machine. They did not rule out the possibility that, before her death, the victim had close contact with another man. However, this contact might have occurred at different times, and it did not entirely exclude the possibility of Michael's involvement in the crime. One undeniable fact remained. Before Michael murdered his wife, Anand Leo, their marriage was filled with violence and jealousy. After several weeks of trial, on June 20, 2009, a jury of 12 people reached a verdict. Michael was found guilty by a majority of 7 votes. On July 31, the Auckland High Court in New Zealand sentenced Chinese national Michael in the case of murdering his wife and abandoning his daughter. He received a life sentence with a minimum of 12 years before being eligible for parole. Naturally, Michael was not pleased with this. He shouted in court that it was unfair because all the jurors were women. This was one of the reasons Michael felt the trial was unjust. For many years afterward, Michael continued to insist on his innocence. He wrote an autobiography while in prison titled "I Am Not a Murderer," in which he portrayed his wife, Anand Leo, in a negative light and continued to deny responsibility for her murder. By 2020, at the age of 66, Michael's attitude unexpectedly changed when he admitted to killing his wife due to her betrayal. He said, "I've always regretted it." However, it seems this change of heart came because Michael had served 12 years in prison and was seeking early release by showing remorse. But his intentions were uncovered. Psychological evaluations showed that he had a high likelihood of reoffending, and thus his parole request was denied. In life, there are stories full of tragedy and heartache, and the story of Michael and Anan Lowe is one of them. From betrayal to facing death, it's a tale of crime, regret, and the fight for justice. Whether or not Michael ever finds forgiveness, his story stands as a cautionary reminder about the power of impulsive actions and the consequences they carry. Let this story remind us that, no matter what life throws our way, we always have the power to choose. Our decisions can have profound effects on the lives of others and ourselves. Think carefully before making decisions, and always hold on to kindness and respect for others. That is the true path to happiness and peace. First and foremost, I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch my video. Your support means the world to me, and I cannot thank you enough for choosing to spend your valuable time here. Every single view, like, comment, and share that you give is an incredible source of motivation and encouragement. It's because of viewers like you that I am inspired to continue creating content, improving with each video, and striving to bring even more exciting, helpful, and entertaining material to this channel. Your engagement is truly the lifeblood of this community. Whether you're here for the first time or have been following me for a while, I appreciate your presence and involvement so much. Your comments and feedback are what help me grow and push myself to deliver better content with every upload. Knowing that you enjoy and find value in what I create gives me a sense of purpose and drives me to keep moving forward. I want to kindly invite you to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. By doing so, you won't miss out on any of the new content that I have in store for you. I'm committed to bringing you videos that will not only entertain but also inspire, educate, and make your day a little brighter. Subscribing is a simple way to stay connected, and it ensures that we can continue this journey together. Additionally, by subscribing, you become a part of this growing community where your voice matters. I always welcome your thoughts, ideas, and suggestions, and I make it a priority to read your comments because they are invaluable to me. Whether it's ideas for new videos, feedback on what you liked or didn't like, or just sharing your thoughts, I'm here for it all. Together, we can create a space that feels positive, engaging, and full of meaningful conversations. So please, don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button now. If you're already subscribed, I want to give you an extra special thank you for being a part of this journey with me. Your support, no matter how small it may seem, is making a huge difference, and I'm incredibly grateful. Also, don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll always know when I've uploaded something new. Trust me, there's a lot of exciting content on the way, and I don't want you to miss any of it. Once again, thank you so much for being here, for watching, and for supporting this channel in any way you can. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I can't wait to see what the future holds as we continue to grow together. Let's keep the momentum going, so make sure to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Wishing you all the best and looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care and stay tuned.